Hey guys, it's Toby again. So I posted on the YouTube Pagans page, the Facebook page today, saying that I was going to go to the cemetery again and do some grave rubbings. Not robbings, as some of my friends thought I was doing, which is not the case. Grave rubbings. So you take a piece of paper and charcoal and you rub across the paper on top of the tombstone. This works really well for tombstones that have been worn down and you can't read much anymore, and it'll give you a impression of what used to be there. Sometimes they're hard to read, sometimes they're not, kind of just depends on how worn the tombstone is. But I wanted to show you guys some of the ones that I got today. So the first one is a two-part piece because the tombstone was so large. So this is for Charles Thomas Walters. And this was the top piece of the tombstone. And this was the bottom half, and I got his last name again. And he was born on May 27th in 1870 and then died October 8th in 1918. And so this is what his tombstone would have looked like altogether, basically. I wanted to try to get as many on one piece of paper as possible, but some of them were just so large that it was impossible to do. So the next one is a set of 3. It's kind of sad, the story behind them. So it's 3 children, all from the same family, and all of their children died really, really young, under the age of 10 for pretty much all of them, I think. So this is the first one I have. Her name is Alice, and you can read these much better on the computer than you can in person, so that's really, really nice. So she was born March 10th in 1877, and then died May 10th in 1880. She was only 3 years old. And I feel really bad for this family. I never knew them, but it's just kind of upsetting that this was a thing. And so this one is really hard to read. The name kind of got cut off because it was rounded across the edge, but his name was Hallowell Godden, and he was born June 15th in 1879, and then died November 23rd in 1884, I believe. And so he wasn't very old either, only 5. And then this is the last one that I have. It's even harder to read. This is Annie. You can kind of see her name a little bit, but it's still pretty hard to read. And she was born what I think is September 21st. I couldn't actually read the date on the tombstone very well, but she was born in 1872, and she died July 13th, 1878. So she lived the longest. She lived for 6 years. But she died before her brother was born, and her sister was a year old when she died. And I could not find the graves for the parents. I looked and looked, but they weren't in the same area. And as I was walking around, I later found another Godden grave in a separate part of the cemetery, probably like a good ways across the cemetery. But the tombstone was too large that I couldn't get a rubbing of it, even on 2 pieces of paper. And so this is the next one that I got. This one I can't even read myself. Kind of have to like squint to be able to see it, but you can definitely make out like there is writing on it. But the tombstone was so badly worn that it's really hard to read anything. But I know this is 1880 something, one of the dates, but it's just really hard to read. And so the next one I have is another 2-part piece. It might be really hard to accomplish, but yeah. So they died when they were 84 years old, as you could see on the paper. And I believe they were a soldier, because there is a part on one of them where it says something about a soldier, but I can't quite read what the other word is. So I might have to go back and find this one again and see if I can read whatever this word here is. I just can't quite make it out. I think this is one of my favorites. This one came out the best on this side. The other side came out a little iffy, but this side came out really, really well. I was really happy with that. Those and the Garden rubbings, those kind of make me really sad. And then I have this one, which is probably the worst of all of them, like in terms of being able to read it. But you can see that his name was Richard. That's pretty much all that you can read on this one. I can't pick out any of the dates or anything in this one, but his name is very clear right there, which is at least good, so that I know the name of the person whose grave that I went to. But that's what I did today in my free time. I got off work and then immediately went to the cemetery, like I do. That's pretty much my go-to everyday afternoon. And then drinking tons of these because I can't stop. I think I've had like 5 of them in the past 2 days. I've had this peach one and then pear ones. And they're not all juice. There's a lot of sugar too, but they're delicious. I can't stop drinking them, so I'm not going to. But yeah, so that's what I did today. And I'll probably post some more videos of grave rubbings in the future whenever I go out again, because it's something really fun, and it's something that you can kind of do as like a way to honor the people who have passed on, and a way to kind of like keep their name alive. So I think it's just a really cool thing that people should try out at least once. It's definitely a really fun activity and really kind of, I don't know, spiritual in a way, I guess. It just gives you a lot more connection to people who've passed on, even if you didn't know them, and kind of gives you a little bit more reverence for the dead. But thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.